Hello, welcome again to The Naked Truth. My name is John Singletary.
And my name is Ramon Roan.
Today we're talking about the Michael Brown situation in Missouri. And the fact that he got shot, no one negates that the police was wrong for the way it was carried out. But coming into play is the fact that previously the video shows that he went into a convenience store and it portrays him as taking something with a situation where he forcefully took something from someone, left there, and then disobeyed the policeman. And whether we choose to or not, we should always, when a police asks us to do something and what they're asking us is not against the law and it's in keeping with what their job is, then we should obey the request. If we have to deal with something that's outside of the law, we do it at a later date. We first try to protect our life. And in a volatile situation like that, I think that it would have been better to simply move out the street like the police asked, and then later deal with the fact that, well, what the police asked was wrong, or I think that he was wrong in what he did. At least your life is saved.
John and I are in nowhere condoning the killing of this young man.
Absolutely
There's
not.
nowhere that we condone it. What we want is less killing. And we want to protect our young brothers and our young sisters. We don't want to hear about another police shooting of an unarmed black individual, be it male or female. And what our kids, our young people need to understand is that whenever you are approached by the police, your life is on the line.
It's open season on young black men, and all we're saying is we need to behave in such a way that it preserves your life first. So for young men in the future, we're saying you have to think about the situation carefully. I had a situation similar that happened to me where they actually came inside my house.
That's
and,
right.
At that time I had to say, hey, listen,
and
let's live for tomorrow. So
that's right, sure. And you was in your house.
I was in my house.
Said, I'm reaching for.
And I said, hey, they asked me to reach for my credentials, and I said, I'd rather one of you all come and get it because I don't want to move my hands. I don't want any misunderstanding that I'm going for anything other than the license. So one of you all come and retrieve the license. And so we understand that it's open season on young black men, and we understand that unfortunately the judicial system is allowing it, oftentimes because people misunderstand the law, even the jury sometimes. And you get what I consider illegal freedom for the policemen who are never charged.
If they're never charged. So we would rather you fight it in the courtroom, at least you're alive to fight it, than to fight it in the grave. Because there's no need. That's finality. There's no coming back from that. And what we don't want to see is another young African American black man murdered. I mean, it is murdered because when it was reported, and John and I, we don't know all the facts yet as they come out, because before, I believe there were some jumping conclusions about the young man, that he was a choir boy or a gentle giant, until the video came out. But his past had nothing to do with the fact that that officer shot him down, and an unarmed man with his hands up in the air.
And our heads and our hearts go out to the family.
Go out to the family,
and,
right. And we would like them to get justice, but unfortunately, statistically, it rarely happens, John. It's the truth. It rarely
happens. But that simply means that we have to fight harder.
Right.
As we said earlier, no justification whatsoever in that situation for the killing. Two wrongs with him in the convenience store, and with this situation, it's just tragic.
It is tragic.
It's tragic, and the best we can do is learn from it, we can continually fight for justice for him and the other young men in the past who haven't received justice.
Right.
But talking to the young black males who are still living, we say, make sure you, in the presence of those policemen, make sure you behave yourselves in such a way that it first preserves your life.
Preserve your life. Live to tell about it. Live to tell that story. Hey, throw pride aside. If you think that your pride is at stake, no. Throw that aside, because they will kill you. They will kill you. What's the guy in New York that got shot 51 times? He was reaching for his wallet. John, wasn't you reaching for your wallet? They
tried to get me to reach for my wallet.
The man was reaching for his
refused.
wallet in Brooklyn. I believe it was in Brooklyn. I know it was in New York. Shot him 51 times. He was reaching for a wallet. You know, he can't fight this now. He could have fought there with raw false imprisonment, false arrest, or whatever the case may be. He could have fought that in court. But reaching for your wallet, that could be detrimental to your life. No, hey, officer, hey, am I under arrest? Put your hands behind your back. Follow their commands. Do not be. I must say this is that I know many police officers. It is a stressful job, and those guys, they want to come home. And there are many police officers, they don't come home. They're thinking, say, hey, they're taking it easy. They're not high strung, and next thing you know, a knife is in their back, or they suffer a gun wound that's fatal. And we want our young boys and our young women to come home, and we want you to raise families. But this goes to
and the police to go home.
Right.
Some of those are brothers too.
Exactly. But this goes to a wider situation, and it deals in the black community, because the number is that every 28 hours, a black person is killed by a police officer. However, every 62 minutes, an African American is murdered on the streets of the United States by African Americans.
Right.
Now the problem is that is a greater problem than the law enforcement. Not saying that Michael Brown, I'm not trying to minimize what happened to Mr. Brown, but 9,000 African Americans are murdered by African Americans every year. That should be a cry that we're killing ourselves, and a larger part is I would have to say that our economy has something to do with it. When you're looking at, in Chicago, I believe there was like 50 some odd shootings, shootings. I can't remember how many deaths, but the unemployment rate for a young black man in Chicago is like 90 some odd %. So if these young men had more opportunities for employment, able to get in good schools, we don't think that their murder rate would be as high as it is. Not going to say that they're not going to be killings. We know, hey, sin exists, but we want to see an end to the senseless violence that are in our community that's carried out by our own people.
Having said that, thanks. We appreciate you joining us on this edition of The Naked Truth, and we'll see you next time. It's the board.